a shout out and special thanks to whoever is watching those live videos, because I just happened to go back and look at one because somebody was thankful that they could actually see me. And I was like, what are they seeing? Because it's a phone, and again, there's a whole situation I can talk about here. But it was kind of comical because, like, I don't have any music in the background. So it's just me moving around, which is really, really funny. So if you're able to sit through that without wanting to, leave this earth, then kudos to you. But the message for today is this: be encouraged. And I'm going to say this, over the past few days, few weeks, this whole quarter has been like crazy, and I don't know why the bike keeps stopping. Usually I do pretty good on this level, but I've been keeping with it because I've seen there's a lot of good that outweighs the bad, and it's like for every little piece I get something good. Every time something not so good happens, something good happens. It's like it's a battle between good and evil. Something bad happens, something good happens. Something bad, something good. But like I said before, when I was going through, it's so obvious. It's like because so much happens at once that if it can't be coincidental at once from different places. This quarter has been a quarter where I can say that I've had so much pecuniary loss, but so much spiritual gain. And I can totally and completely say that the spiritual gain is worth so much more than that. And also another thing I want to say is be encouraged. I had a lot of instances where I bumped into people that told me, and not necessarily a lot of people, because there's not a lot of real Christians left that are, in the same situation I am, where they're kind of, wondering like what's really going on here, because there's so many crazy things happening. But people see it, and it's like, I've had it brought to my attention where they're just like, yo, there's really crazy things happening. People are ending up with things missing, stolen, people that are just straight evil, like in your face evil. They don't hide it, and at one time, I think I've become accustomed to it, because at one time it scared me a little bit, because I was like, whoa. But to know and to be encouraged, that's why fellowship is so important, that we talk about the things that we see, so that we know that, this is not something that's solitary, it's something that's unique to a certain individual. It is definitely happening. And I've said this before because I've noticed it on my own, but again, like I said, other people are noticing too. Almost like if you've ever watched the movie The Devil's Advocate, and I've said this a lot, where it's Keanu Reeves and this really attractive black girl and this really attractive white girl, and they're all at some big event or something. They go into this room and there's this huge mirror, and they're looking in the mirror being vain because they know how good they look, all three of them. And then the closer you get, the more you look, the face changes into something very ugly and evil and distorted. And that's how I'm noticing a lot of people, not literally, but almost, spiritually, you can see it. Like in one vein, they'll say one thing, and it's like, there's a quote by, I think it's Forbes, where he says, and I think Martin Luther King said it too, a lot of people said it, but, the true judge of a man's character is how he treats someone that he doesn't necessarily need, or that is no recognizable benefit to them, right? And I've had people in real life actually say, oh, I know who I can do this to and who I can't. They pick and choose, right? And so, I mean, it's like you'll see people that, and for me, I've always been honest about who I am. I don't try to, and I'll even abase myself sometimes because I don't want anyone to think too highly. But, when they don't know, it's like you'll see this visage, or if they think that you may have it worth to them, or you could impact them negatively, they have this visage like of someone that has good moral standing, good moral fiber, whatever. But then you will see in the same notes, when they feel like they have this power and control that's not due to them, like I said, God provides everything, you'll see the total change of character, right? And then if they see that this could possibly impact their standing or impact them in some way, you'll see that in the very next note, and I've seen this happen in churches too, but I'm seeing it in other places. And it is a little bit scary, but I understand what it is, so it doesn't scare me that much, right? So you'll see where they will do the exact opposite, where if you were not there for when they did the indiscretion, you would never believe it was true. It's like, and they do it so openly, it's crazy. And another thing, and this is addressing the people that actually see these things happen but don't have anything to say about it. It's like, there was a movie, and I've talked about this before, it's a remake of the 60s movie, remake of the Attack and the Body Snatchers, but I think it's like the early 2000s or late 90s version. And you see all these people jumping off the buildings, right? And you see a bunch of people just standing, looking up, watching these people jumping off the buildings. No facial expression, nothing. Then the girl, which happens to look like one of these people that are involved in this in my current life, the woman, she's looking up and she's trying not to show expression or any human emotion, but there's one single tear that comes out, because if you show human emotion, you will show that you are human, that you haven't been fully converted over to whatever this other program is, right? So it's crazy. I see it every day. And the one thing I want to say to people that are real Christians is continue to be encouraged, right? Like for me today, and this is just my testimony, what I had happen. I experienced where, I was somewhere, I was already expecting, because like I said, this has been that season for me. I don't know why I'm not, just keep pausing me. Usually I'm doing pretty good with this, but keep pausing me. And it feels a little, the torque feels a little different. But I was expecting, things to not be perfect if something always happened. But theft is real these days. I've had public benefits stolen from me from the church. Do not trust. The church is the most evil of places, and some people will even tell you that in the church. That was the practice before I had this happen to me. When you go to places, and that's what scares me too, because I wanted to work on my organization to change the name a little bit, because I'm no longer incorporated, to ministry. I see that a lot, but I don't want to be one of those people that tag something on their name, to make it what it is. I want the word to show the effort. I want the intent and the impact to be equal, right? So I made a goal for myself, and it's so funny how before the actual days of the goal, I did perfectly well, but then I have many things coming at me, but I still, the purpose of it is to keep trying. I have this goal, 2 a day, serve 2 people a day, serve 2 people a day. And by the end of the second quarter, if I do well on that, that's good, But it takes focus. You have to look at it almost like anything else that you would commit yourself to. Like if you committed yourself to a job, if you committed yourself to supporting a local nonprofit by your presence that may or may not deserve it, commit that to the people that you want to serve. Commit that to Christ. Because if you have a servant heart, part of it comes from being, when someone that honors and respects Christ. And so you have to remember, like Ephesians 4, that's my verse, stand worthy of the vocation if you're called. If you truly serve Christ, then that's your job first thing in the morning before you do anything else. And I can't really say that because your appearance has to be a certain thing. Y'all already know my appearance is a little different these days, but actually it's the same, but it's not, it's a little less marketable than it could be. But that should be your first goal, to always be prepared. For me, I should have at least 2 things that I can serve people with, food or drink or something like that, right? And I should have a pen and paper so I can take their information so I can document it, And I should have a device, some type of device that I can take a photo if they permit me to do so that I can have it, for my documentation. But, stay encouraged. Like I said, I had already anticipated in the back of my mind, it's like expect the best but prepare for the worst. That, this is not going to work out. Like they said, like I said, it got stolen from by a church and public benefits stolen. That, it's crazy, right? After I gave them tithe, also got stolen from another local nonprofit. I had another situation where, there's a nonprofit that I'm dealing with that's a little satanic in my eyes, because they do everything kind of against, they don't have no Christ in them, we can really talk about it. So, just to be careful and to be aware. I'm not gonna say be careful because that's a spirit of fear, but just to be aware of what's going around you spiritually. If you're not a spiritual person, you don't have anything to worry about because you're not a threat. You're just doing what everybody else do anyway, so it don't matter. But if you are a spiritual person, if you are a Christian, Christians, real Christians, they are very conscientious of what they say and what they do because they know the impact that it can have, right? So also very aware, of things that go around you, some things that people don't see or won't see, because again, if you see it and acknowledge it, sometimes you get the power. So maybe it's a little bit of wisdom and pretending like you don't see, but it's out there and it exists. I'm going to tell you how my perceptions moved today and my testimony for the day. So I went to this place, like I said, somehow my package ended up saying that it was delivered and it was received by a certain person. This person don't even work there, and the name even sounded fake because, it just sounded fake. And I called all the different places associated with it. Nobody had that name. So, just to be cautious. But then as I was leaving, the girl that welcomed me in was so inviting and so nice. And she was a Christian, and she seemed like it was, and again, we don't know, from our first or second interaction, we never know what people put on a face based on who they believe us to be. For me, I'm very honest about who I am, so I'll tell you. You ask me where I live, and I'll say, hey, I live in God's nature. I'll tell you the truth, right? And, like I said, sometimes people take that as opportunity to perhaps, gauge what your temperature is. Like I told y'all, there was give me just a moment. Social media person that talked about the burn test, but they were talking about it in reference to how men would test women. They would say things to try them and see, how far they could get without being burned, right? Without being put in their place. And people do the same thing, So I'm starting to learn more and more how important it is for your personal information to stay personal. For me, I like being open. And it's just because I feel like somebody somewhere may benefit and benefit from it. But in certain situations, especially face-to-face, it's really important to keep certain things private because, again, the burn test. A lot of times people are asking these questions to see how far, based on the information that they get from you, they can take you before you burn, what they can do, And as I was leaving this woman, everything was a good experience. I love the way that she treated everyone else, but also that reminds me of the place that I work. This woman treats everybody great, but when it comes to certain situations, she's not always consistently like that, depending on, what value you have to her or what threat you propose to her. So as I was leaving, this woman just gave me this feeling of ultimate care, right? And I reordered my phone now. If something happens to my phone this time, that's it. That's just God telling me I don't need a phone. And I'm all right with that, right? So as I was leaving, she finished up with another customer. She spoke to me. So I'm starting to share with her my information. I'm starting to dump because it feels good to dump. This other customer jumps in the middle like, I'm invisible, like, hey, I'm here. But again, I allowed it to happen because I'm so weary and I'm so tired. I don't have the energy to jump up and be like, excuse me, we were having a conversation here. You have to wait your turn. Or even if it's not worth you waiting, you got to leave and come back. But I didn't do all that because, again, tired, exhausted. So the lesson that I'm learning from that as well is that, I don't know, I think I still handled it well because I know that I'm exhausted. I don't feel like I lost anything behind it. And I needed to relax the ladies. But right after that situation would have left me with the impression that I'm an invisible person. I don't matter, I don't count, or maybe, to the surrounding world, I don't. But on the same note, after that, I went to a gas station. And again, I don't think it's an issue anymore. I think, like my daddy used to say, it always isn't. I don't think it's necessarily racism anymore, but it's anything that can be found to divide. So now I think the agenda is like you're pushing together the races, like they said, they're making it so you can't teach about the slavery, the way that it really happened, this, that, and the other. So everybody's kind of conglomerate unless you're not with the program of capitalism and this, that, and the other, which is evident by the way that you look. If you dress a certain way, whatever. So I walk in and there's this guy, Caucasian, curly hair, probably curlier hair than mine, actually, to be honest with you. And he walks up, and I'm expecting, because of how things have been going, this man is going to slam this door in my face, right? But he takes the time to hold the door open for me and from this other African-American lady behind me. And so we go in, and then he reminded me of me because of the way, like, sometimes you're so desperate to help people, and I am. If I have an opportunity to do anything that's going to help somebody, I'm tripping over myself trying to do it. I don't care who it is. And that's how he was. He was trying to hold the door open. He almost tripped over the things. And sometimes that also makes people aware of the status too, because I think a lot of times when people are part of those societies that talk about whether you're homeless, you've been abused, you've been bullied, victim of the criminal justice system, victimized in any type of way, you tend to sometimes be overly nice or so desire so much to help because you want people to know that you're a good person. You want to feel loved and respected and part of, the bigger thing. But sometimes it's important not to be, because that bigger thing that you might want to be a part of may not be all that, But that's how you can really tell, I remember going into stores and having people, like I said, be overly nice or a little bit different in the way they interact. And that's why, because you really want to be accepted, approved of, and you want the love that you have in you that you give to others to be acknowledged. Anyways, I'm exhausted. I'm not really sure why. And I just wanted to get on here real quick because I saw some of the, thank you for the love, by the way. I saw some of the old videos. And lately, like I said, probably over the last quarter or so, all the lives have been like silent of me trying to exercise because I need to document it that I'm exercising. And I haven't been making good gains. I had gotten down to 161, but that was just for a day. I don't know what happened. I'm back up to like 166. But all I want to say is be encouraged, and if, the world, nobody in this world is more important than anyone else. If things don't go the way that you like or that you feel that they should go, it's okay. It's all God's plan. You just make sure that you are doing whatever it was or is that you were called to do in this world. For me, I'm supposed to serve. So I'm supposed to serve 2 people a day. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to beat myself up, right? And also remember that Christ is fully alive in you. It's that season Easter. And for me, what I've learned during this season as well is that anything or anyone that depicts somebody that you like in a way that's negative, and the worst part that I don't like that. I don't like all this depiction of the crucifixion and all that, But Christ is fully alive in you, and you make that evident by walking in the strength of the investment that was made in you, and that was, the payment for the sin. So if you are a good person, maintain that, but also know that you're not better than anyone else, because there are people that are quote unquote bad people. And they exist on this earth too. But just do you and do you the best that you can. Anyways, like I said, I just got on here because I saw those videos and they were so odd, And if you've seen those movies where something happened, like something weird happened, what is this thing, plasma? It didn't use plasma like this. But where you see things that are happening and, they always say, this person made these weird videos. They were sleeping on the video, whatever. Mom would be like, she made these weird videos and she was doing just erratic motion. It's me exercising. I just don't want to get copyrighted, so I have YouTube and music. But, so, and that's the other thing, too. Lean not into your own understanding. Everybody does what they do for a reason. And if, like I said, there are different people in this world that have different bases and different groups. If they don't agree with yours, it's fine. You just pray for their heart, their spirit, and mind, that whatever it is that they're doing, that somehow it serves God in some way. But I'm going to go because this is not necessary. But it was just funny to me to see my live, and I was like, what is that? But anyways, bless up. Bye.